Hey, so it's been a minute. Um, been going through it, but let's talk about it. Um, Past couple months have been rough. I know I haven't uploaded in a while. Just trying to deal with everything that's going on. So when I first started this channel, I had mentioned that I was experiencing a lot of dissociative symptoms. So the past few months I've been dealing with that and trying to figure that out. And I will be going into that later. Not entirely sure how long this video is going to be. I'm kind of going by the seat of my pants here, because I know that if I sit down and try to script it out, I might never record. So depending on how long this is, I may split it into different parts, and I will let you know if that is what ends up happening. So yeah, so I've been dealing with a lot of the dissociation, and I'm gonna try to keep this organized, but I can't promise that I'm not gonna jump around a little bit, or that I won't dissociate in the middle of this video. Trigger warnings for basically all the things. I'm going to go into a little bit of detail about different facets of mental illness, as well as maladaptive coping strategies. So if those types of things are triggering for you, I do recommend skipping this piece. I will try to remember to go back and do a more comprehensive list of the triggers that I mention here. Yeah, it's been rough. I've been going through what I will call a long running BPD episode. It really, really, really sucks to have this disorder. And it really sucks to have it creep up on you the way it did. Because, like, obviously it's a personality disorder. It's always there. It's not like I, can hang it up on the coat rack and when I decide not to deal with it. It just doesn't work that way. But there are definitely times where the symptoms are more acute and times where the symptoms are a little bit more manageable. And right now the symptoms are very much up front in my face. Like, I feel like it is destroying my life, and keeping me from being happy. So it's not been a fun few months, I'll put it that way. On top of everything, kind of the issues that were going on, that kind of, when the dissociation got really bad, I had a bit of an emotional break, and then subsequently smaller emotional breaks. And this has proven to be the crack in what was already a tense relationship. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but I'm sure you can read between the lines and figure out what's going on there. So it's really hard to have this intense fear of abandonment, and to to go through a long-term relationship, and every day you're afraid that this is going to be the day, like every single day. Like there is not a moment that you can prove to me that this is going to last forever. Like it's not possible. I'm not going to believe you. It doesn't matter what evidence you provide me. And it's really heartbreaking to live with that and be told constantly that's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, and then eventually it does get to be too much, and it's like, you know what, this isn't working. And it's kind of, and there's the BPD in the back of my head going, I told you, it was only a matter of time, I told you. And that has certainly colored the past month for me. It's made it very difficult to see any kind of hope in the world. Like, yes, okay, BPD is a treatable disorder, and I think like everybody with BPD probably experiences this at some point, but like, yeah, it's a treatable disorder, but maybe it's not treatable for me. Like maybe I am so broken that this is never going to get better. I don't blame the other person. Not when I'm in like rationally thinking. Am I angry? Yes. Am I sad? Absolutely. But I can't blame them. And it's just when my therapist challenges me to think about things in a different way, or to provide evidence for the way that I see the world. And I'm like, okay, but I have the evidence. Like, this is what happens. People leave. Like, how do you fight that? How do you fight this intense fear that everybody is going to leave you when the evidence shows that everybody leaves you? And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how to get around that. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to be the type of person that is so emotionally unstable that the people that are close to her don't ever know which version of her they're going to get. I don't want to be this person that relies on somebody else to tell me the person I'm supposed to be. Because, with the loss of this relationship, that's also the loss of my identity. I've spent the past decade fashioning myself based off of what that other person, or what I thought that other person wanted or needed. I don't know how to exist without existing for somebody else. I can't function in a vacuum. There's nothing here if there's nobody else around. And it's made it so that I'm reverting back to really old maladaptive behaviors, we'll call them, to try to cope with everything. And it doesn't help that in the midst of all of this, I'm on a medication that, the number one side effect for it is weight gain. And that but unfortunately it's the only medication that works. For a specific trigger warning here, around disordered eating and eating disorders. So if that's triggering for you, then you might want to jump off here. But I really just don't like myself right now. And I wish I was back to the weight that I was when I thought I was fat. And I think the eating disorder is the piece that I have the hardest part talking about, because it's just, there's so much shame in it. Like there's so much, it's so contradictory, because I'm the type of person that's like, I'm out there and I'm like, you know, like everybody deserves to be loved, everybody's beautiful, like no body shaming, you know, do what is healthy for you, everybody has a different body type. And meanwhile, I'm over here beating myself up because I am in the largest size that I've ever been in my entire life. And it takes up every moment of my day. I am constantly thinking about it. I'm constantly thinking about, you know, what meal can I skip, or how can I have a smaller portion, or, you know, okay, like how can I eat a meal that has less calories? And it constantly takes up my thoughts. But the thing is, because of the medication I'm on, like I have to eat. Like I can't not eat. It makes it, I'm not advocating for food restriction. That's not the point that I'm trying to make here. I'm just saying that for me, this is what it is that I deal with on a daily basis. And this thought that I know I need to restrict food so that I can lose weight, but my medication makes it so that I can't restrict food. And it turns into this huge shame and guilt cycle where every single meal I eat, I feel guilty and disgusted. And it's really difficult to be in that mindset, because I thought I had beaten this years ago. Like I thought like I was good, everything was fine, and to, you know, have to acknowledge that that never went away is tough. I am also utilizing other habits that I know are not the most, the healthiest choices. And it's tough to have these conversations, because I like to think of myself as an open person, but at the end of the day, it's really not. I kind of reveal the tip of the iceberg, and everybody thinks that that's all there is to it, and they don't see the giant piece of the iceberg that's still underwater. They don't realize that that is there, and that there's so much more below that. Because, you know, like who wants to have to deal with somebody like that, right? Who wants to have somebody that has all of these problems that they're dealing with? It's like, I feel like that's the reason I keep spinning in circles with therapy, and why I can't ever get anywhere, is because every week it's a new issue, because I have so many issues. And I don't know why. It's not like it's not like I'm like this tortured soul. I didn't have the worst childhood growing up, you know. Like, was it great? Not really, but it wasn't book worthy. Like, it's not something that, like, oh, read this autobiography of the horrible things that this person went through. Like, that's not, I didn't live that kind of life, so I don't understand why I get so affected by these things. And I, and all of like all those thoughts just keep swirling around. And it's that I can be fine 1 minute and the next minute I feel like curling into a ball in the middle of my bed and never moving. There are days that I just don't want to be here anymore. I really don't. And I keep going. I'm a mom. I'm never going to leave my son. So it's the thing that keeps me going, because I know I have to get up. I have to take care of him. I have to be there for him. He is the most important thing in the world to me. And I would never purposefully do anything that would harm him. And I know that he needs me here. And so here I am, as much as I wish I didn't have to be. And I it's such a hard thing to talk about these things, even knowing that the reason I am putting it out there is to hopefully help somebody to know that they're not alone. I hate that anybody would have to feel the same way that I feel, but I know that people do. And so if I can help you feel less alone in that, then it's worth being uncomfortable. And also because I do want to make this a more comfortable conversation. The reason we lose so many people to mental illness is because we don't have these conversations. Self-harm has come back into the picture, and I should probably be drinking a lot less than I am. And that's one of the things I'm working on right now. And, I'm in close communication with my psychologist, and we're keeping up to date on that. And I always have to answer the same questions at the start of every session. How much have you eaten? And then he digs in to ask more detailed questions about that. When was the last time you self-harmed? What method did you use? How much have you been drinking? Like, I have to go through all of these questions every single session, because we're trying to get me back on some kind of base, I guess, because I'll get into this a little bit more a little later, but I started seeing this new therapist because he is a trauma specialist, but we can't start working on that when I am in the middle of a crisis. And so right now the goal is to get out of crisis. And it's touch and go. It depends on the day. But yeah, I wanted to be candid and honest about what it is that I'm dealing with. And I wanted to, have some sort of explanation as to why I just disappeared. I know I don't have a lot of people watching this channel, but for the few that do, I appreciate it, and I'm not going away. I just, sometimes mental health gets in the way of doing what we want to do. And that's just the honesty in it. That's the truth. That's what it is like to live with this on a daily basis. I'm going to end this here. I will put a second part to this, going into a little bit more detail about the events of the past few months rather than just the things that have made it difficult for me to get up and film. And I will continue to upload videos about what it's like to live with this illness, and as well as hopefully I'll be able to come and talk about what I've been doing to help get me out of this current crisis, and maybe share that with you, and maybe somebody else will find it helpful. So thanks for listening. Until next time, take care and stay well.
Stumbled at the start line, I've done all that I can do, but